welcome everyone to the webinar. We're so very excited to have you. It is the Drivers of High Productivity and Practice Growth, sponsored by Weave. My name is Ryan White. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager for Weave over Dental, and I'm going to be moderating today's webinar with our wonderful guest, Dr. Hazel Glasper. Before we get started, I just want to mention a few things. For those that are watching live, you can interact with the chat function. Please feel free to put those questions in there. We'll try to interact with them both by text as well as leave time at the end of the webinar so that we can answer those questions. And also, if you hear something interesting or you want to learn more about Weave yourself, if you're not a customer, there is a button at the very top that will allow you to interact and see a live demo within the few very quickly. For those that are viewing on demand, you can find the similar same functionality on the website that you are browsing with. So once again, I want to welcome everyone, the Drivers of High Productivity and Practice Growth. I am very honored to welcome Dr. Hazel Glasper, a very passionate and just fantastic dentist and very passionate about dentistry and about oral health overall. Her innovative approach to comprehensive care has established her as a thought leader in the field, and her health, function, aesthetic business strategy has made her one of the top producers and really much sought out speakers on oral and systematic links to disease. She has a lead legislative member of the Maryland Dental Action Coalition, has been awarded a fellowship in the International College of Dentists. She has partnered with the American Heart Association, the National Kidney Association, colleges, universities, and news medias to bring oral health education to the masses. And to date, she has reached over 6 million people and is frequently featured in both print and broadcast media, as well as formats like this, webinars and digital formats all over the world. She has redefined comprehensive dentistry and committed to advancing the perception of oral health. Dr. Glasper is a visionary behind the National Oral Health Campaign, Teach Me Dental, and the CEO of the Comprehensive Dental Continuum, a consulting agency that prepares dentists for the new era in dentistry by implementing principles and practices that optimize both practice, revenues, and patient outcomes. Her company slogan, "Sell More Dentistry, Save More Lives," illustrates the power of dentistry to positively impact morbidity and mortality rates and encourages dentists to take their rightful place in the field of medicine. Dr. Glasper, it's really easy to pontificate about your passion about your works. It's fun as a moderator to be able to say that much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a little bit humbling to hear it, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. Dr. Glasper here. I have a lot to share with you today. If at any time you need to stop me, please do. But no, I think I have a little bit more than 25, 30 minutes of material. So I'm going to try to get through as much as possible. First, I want you to know, to me, dentistry is so much bigger and greater than the treatment of teeth. What I do is not limited to the treatment of teeth. We have a larger role that we need to play in medicine. Let's see here. My philosophy, how I run my practice, how I view dentistry, is that dentistry is a branch of medicine. That as doctors, we are not just dentists. We are physicians of the oral cavity, and we are critical members of our patient's healthcare team. But what I also believe, that even though we have to deal with the dentition of the teeth, the dentition on a daily basis, to really be a true comprehensive dentist, every single patient who comes into our practice needs to be treated with the consideration of health, function, and aesthetics. To me, that is complete dentistry. And practicing this way for over 20 years has truly positioned me as one of the top producers and collectors in the industry, according to some of the leading metrics out there. So I know in all of our practices, what we want is, one, we want to present the treatment that our patients need. So for me, I present all my findings to my patients. And that has made me one of the top presenters in dentistry. But the next thing is once you present it, you have to be able to produce. And with my health function and aesthetics practice model, I'm producing 3 times more than the industry average. Then once you produce, you have to be able to collect. We are on our existing patients, I'm saying we're collecting maybe 2 times more than the top 10% of dentists that were surveyed here. And on my new patients, significantly more than the top 10% of dentists. And so, what I want you to realize, I believe that an educated patient is a more valuable patient. With this practice model, we're able to retain our patients. So, the industry average for reappointment is about 80%. In my practice and the practices that I coach, it's near 94%. And I think this is the biggest thing because we do it with extremely low volume, which means that the most practices have an active patient base of about 1,300. I think I'm right around 425 patients. I'm able to do an exceptional amount of dentistry on very low volume. And I think that really is the exciting part for a lot of dentists and dental teams. The part of the success behind the HFA practice model are the 4 drivers. And for me, the 4 drivers are leadership, a comprehensive clinical skill set, practice management knowledge, and relationship building. And I have to say, Weave has helped me tremendously with relationship building. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. So when I talk about leadership, there is so much that I can share with you, but the direction that I've chosen to go is, as a leader, you have to have a clear vision. And in my practice, I have a clear ethos. And again, my ethos is that dentistry is a branch of medicine. Dentistry is essential to healthcare. And we are healthcare providers. So my mindset, my idea about the industry we're in is firmly a part of medicine. This is my vision. And my role is to embody this in my practice and ensure that it permeates throughout every single day that we're in that office and every single day with my team. But another part of leadership that I'll share with you today is a good leader creates other good leaders. So I decided in this whole webinar to share a series of stories. A couple of months ago, maybe about 4 or 5 months now, I sent my hygienist to a course that was given by DeWitt Wilkerson and some of his associates. It was on inflammation and infection. And this course taught my hygienists that using a very simple salivary test can help you identify the 5 key pathogens that are associated with the oral diseases we deal with, such as periodontal disease or oral cancer, and that these same pathogens are connected to systemic conditions, and we know that, such as Alzheimer's and pregnancy, adverse pregnancy outcomes, as well as certain cancers like colorectal cancer and pancreatic cancer. And this is a very short list that I'm giving you. So she was able to now know the 5 key pathogens. She was able to identify them, learn the concentration of the pathogens in the mouth, and then learn how to reduce or eliminate them. That's huge for a practice like mine. It's huge for any practice in dentistry. And so she immediately started onboarding the information and ordering the supplies and getting educated and attempting to educate the team. So that was the first part of leadership for her. The second part was my office manager, realizing that my hygienist had this enthusiasm that was contagious. And my office manager understood the value of this new procedure. She understood that introducing it is in line with my vision. But she also knew that introducing this meant that we had to streamline the process. We had to make it patient-centered so patients could understand this new unfamiliar technology, that they could embrace the value of it for their health, and we could get higher case acceptance. And it flowed through the office. The additional benefit for both these ladies taking a leadership position is that we had increased productivity of about 12 to 15% or more in our practice. So why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because it's important as the dentist in the practice to know we do not do any of this alone. We can't do it alone. It is more than us. We have to be able to allow for leadership development with our team members. We have to let them be leaders in their own right. We have to set it up that they are successful. And we have to recognize and see the value that they bring and how they can contribute to leading our practice and staying within our vision. I have a phenomenal team, and I give them the autonomy at times to lead me in areas where I might need support and to lead the team in that way. So let's go to the next critical driver to the health function and aesthetics process. It's a comprehensive clinical skill set. So what do I mean by that? You know, we learn a lot of information in school, whether you're a team member or a dentist, but you can't stop there. You have to continue to evolve. And with a comprehensive clinical skill set, you not only need the new information that you learn to become better with your hands or more knowledgeable, but you have to stick with the foundational things that we've been taught. With a comprehensive clinical skill set, you have to be able to fully evaluate your patients, even if you're going to refer them out. And you have to know when you are when you need to work with other clinicians, whether they're within the dental profession or non-dental professionals, like the patient's physicians. So I decided to share with you a case that came in my office a couple of weeks ago. Now, this patient came into my office with a very common PPO insurance, and we didn't take that insurance, but her chief complaint is that I got crowns on my front teeth, and I am very unhappy with the results. So, as a leader, because these 4 drivers are interdependent, they're going to overlap. So, as a leader with a comprehensive clinical skill set, I needed to ask questions and find out what was important to her. So, when I was asking questions, I wanted to know, well, what results did you want? And she said, an even smile. So then the next question is, how did the front teeth look before you treated them? And she said, my 2 front teeth were crooked and I wanted them straighter. So my response to her is, you got what you asked for. But if you are a true comprehensive dentist, and I'm just talking me and you now, if you are a true comprehensive practice, then we know that that patient wanted so much more than that. What she wanted was a beautiful smile. And what we needed to do in that instance was let her know the true condition her mouth is in and help her understand how that related to her chief complaint. And how I do that is by looking at health, function, and aesthetics. So right now, I'm going to look with you at some critical issues that we should have spoken to this patient about. One of the first things that I said to her is that you really were not going to get the results that you wanted without considering a few things. First, and I don't know who's on this webinar, if it's just dentists or dental teams. So I'm going to, my language will go back and forth between clinical terms and layman terms. But I told her, you have bimaxillary protrusion, which means that your upper teeth are flared and your lower teeth are flared. And you also have an edge to edge bite. You will never get the aesthetic results or the functional results that you need. In order to get the more youthful appearance that you might be looking for, more tooth show, more variations in the shapes of the crowns. So I know you want them even, but natural teeth are not even like that. So what we need to do is do orthodontic intervention. You need to go into braces and you need to reposition the lower teeth. Let's retract them a bit, reposition the upper teeth and create more overbite or overlap. That's how a natural smile looks, and it creates, again, better function, which will protect your teeth, which will protect your muscles and your joints. The second thing that I shared with her, and I asked the question, did you like the color of your other teeth? And she said, no, not really. I said, no, because they were like a grayish color. Why did you only do 4 anterior teeth? She said, I wanted to see how good they did with those 4 before I invest in additional work. Well, that was a problem. Because you only invested in, and let's go back here if we can, because you only invested in the 4, you limited your provider. He had to match these 4 teeth as close as she or he can to the surrounding teeth. So if you didn't like the color of your teeth when you started, you were not going to like the color of the veneers. And then I said, your premolars, which are right beyond your eye teeth, they're overstored. They have too much filling material and they have cavities. They needed work as well. What you needed to do was involve more teeth, but this is after orthodontic treatment. It would make a more uniform smile, a more beautiful smile, and you can get the bright, vibrant color that you desire. Another thing that I had to share with her is you have a lot of issues going on in the mouth that one might affect the work that I'm doing in the future. It could affect all this beautiful work that I place. So we're going to have to discuss that after we come up with our plan. Her last treatment plan with her last dentist was $3,000 under a PPO insurance. My treatment plan for her was $25,000 involving orthodontic treatment and the 8 anterior teeth. Her only question to me was, how soon can we get started? What I'm saying to you all is the health function and aesthetics process means that you fully inform your patients of all their needs. You help them understand how it is affecting their health, their function, and their aesthetics. You do not read their pocketbooks. You do not let them think that certain insurances are going to give them a certain result, because it does and will not. Full disclosure. And what you'll end up with is an enhanced treatment outcome and increased practice revenues. So I'm going to go to the next case. One of the critical key drivers behind the health function and aesthetics process is practice management knowledge. And what am I saying to you? You need to fully understand how to run a practice. Historically, as dentists, we have not been taught how to run a business. I had the fortune when I was an associate to work under some brilliant business individuals who taught me the business of dentistry. And I fell in love with the challenges of practice ownership. I love business and running a practice and coaching on it. So I had a 59-year-old. I'm using examples. I'm hoping that you can more relate to the examples and think about them later. So I had a 59-year-old patient come to the practice. She had previous orthodontic treatment in another state about a year or so ago. And her chief complaint is that my back teeth don't touch anymore after I had orthodontic treatment. I did my clinical examination on this patient. And after looking at health function and aesthetics, I recognize a few things. One, under health, I recognized that she had periodontal disease. She had loss of bone, loss of gum. Under function, I realized that the reason for the periodontal disease was her malocclusion. The patient had been in malocclusion for years, and it literally destroyed her posterior teeth. Pete Dawson calls this occlusal disease. And according to Pete Dawson, it is one of the most misdiagnosed and one of the most aggressive or progressive diseases that could cause extensive damage to the teeth, the muscles, and the joints. So when she questioned me about having had the orthodontic treatment, I told her that clinician was dead on, that nothing could be done to these back teeth until the teeth were in a better position. So she understood that. Under aesthetics, she had a pretty acceptable smile. So my recommendation to her became this. What I am recommending to you is one, I'm going to get you in the office right now. I really can't get a reproducible bite here. I can't get you in CR. So I am going to fabricate a temporary deprogrammer for you. And I want you to wear this for 5 days. And even though your joints have had some changes. I hear some slight clicking. I know you don't have any discomfort, but I think the muscles have been fatigued by the longevity of the malocclusion. So we're going to put you in this deprogrammer. I'm going to bring you back and we will mount your case. If I find that I can't really put you in the position of getting a reproducible bite that I can trust, I might create an occlusal splint for you to wear for 3 months and then get you back and see if the muscles have relaxed then. So I got her on the articulator and I decided this is going to be our treatment plan. Our treatment plan is the occlusal analysis. We did the deprogrammer. We're going to get her on the articulator. We might create a splint for her. After I know that I have her bite in CR, I'm going to wax up those posterior teeth. I'm going to make sure that she has great occlusion, that she has great disclusion in the back. I'm not going to go into that right now, but great function. And when I know that is perfect, I'm going to put her in maybe 5 Invisalign trays. I'm going to retract the teeth because she had relapse with the ortho, because we know that if only anterior teeth are touching and posterior teeth are not, and she has periodontal disease, those anterior teeth are going to move. And that's what happened. So I'm going to reposition them and maybe splint them after I reposition them. And then I'll put her in permanent restorations, like a couple of fillings, some inlays, onlays, 3/4 crowns, or full coverage crowns. The estimated treatment plan was $23,000. Her insurance helped maybe $1,500. She had Delta Dental. I did not promise her anything. Delta Dental is the only insurance I take in my practice. I told her this is a functional issue. Delta Dental really does not cover functional issues. So they might contribute to the core buildup. Whatever they contribute, that's good for you. If they don't contribute anything, this is your estimated investment. On top of that, I showed her, this is what your insurance states. When the malocclusion is because of an occlusal issue that causes joint problems, this is not a covered benefit. We put that on the treatment plan. She had 3 consults with me, several consults with my financial coordinator. She was fully educated. Then she started altering treatment. These are 2 teeth. This is what they look like after I restored them. The patient got a hold of her fee schedule and said, I think your practice owes money back to me, and I'm requesting that money back. Please know, let Dr. Glasper know I love her work. It's excellent work, but according to my insurance, I should have only paid this. Well, we had already educated her. It finally got to me, and I got on the phone with her, and she was a bit aggressive. And she said to me, Dr. Glasper, either you refund the money or I'm going to the insurance company. And I said to her, please do what you need to do. I know business, and I approach each case with excellence, confidence, and authority. So she turned me over to the insurance company. After re-educating her and letting her know what this is going to lead to is the worst case scenario for my practice is we'll refund that $625 your insurance company paid, and you're going to owe additional money. She didn't believe me, but after educating the insurance company on their own policies by a very thorough letter with great documentation, I got this letter that clearly states, Dr. Glasper, you are correct. The patient, if you could refund that $625 we sent your practice, we will reach out to the patient and tell her she will owe that additional money. Why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because you need to know the ins and outs of how to run your business. You need to understand what insurances that you accept. You need to practice full disclosure with every single patient. You need to stand by your work, and you should not devalue the work that you do. Please know that trying to treat a patient like that under reduced fees is never going to produce the results that you want. And I shared that with her. I shared with her, I would never do this level of care for reduced fees. I know business. I practice with confidence and authority, and failure to do so would compromise my patient care and limit the resources in my practice. Finally, I decided to share a story with you. Relationship building is everything. One of the reasons why I've worked with Weave for so long is they were able to show me how I could connect with my patients um, through text. I have a practice where it's very personal at times. I remember the important information my patients share with me. I remember anniversary dates. I remember what they say. My entire team, we send flowers. I go to the hospital and visit them. I go to their weddings. I go to their funerals. I am very involved with that low patient volume. And with Weave, instead of me calling them every night and checking on how they did after a procedure, I could quickly text them and they would respond immediately. I could find out, how did that event go with your daughter, with the soccer team? I could stay connected with them on so many levels that took a whole lot of my time before. This is part of relationship building. Relationship building is everything. So my mother is 90 years old, and she told me a story a week ago about when she was 12. So my mother's family grew up in Arkansas, in the countryside of Arkansas. And her mom and dad picked cotton and didn't make a lot of money from that. It was important to her parents that their children get an education. So my grandmother decided that she was going to send my mom to live in downtown Arkansas with a woman and her daughter who were school teachers, one who had previously taught my mother. So my grandmother thought that she could trust her. The reason why she sent my mother there is because my mother had, to walk 6 miles to school and back, which can be dangerous. So she sent my mother to live with these two ladies. But what she didn't understand is that they weren't very nice to her. According to my mother, she had to sleep out on the porch. They ignored her. They weren't kind. My mother was a very loved woman or young girl by her family. And she doesn't remember how she got an envelope or a stamp, but she got the message to her mother that she needed to come get her. My mother made the comment is that she felt like she was being treated like a dog. I want to go beat up these people. I mean, am I wrong? I was really ticked off. And I'm talking about now, today, I was ticked off when she shared it with me. Because anybody who knows me knows I love my mama. My grandparents came to pick her up, and they, within a week or two, definitely within a month, relocated to the north. Why am I sharing this story? Maya Angelou said, people might forget what you said, people might forget what you did, but they will never forget how you make them feel or how you made them feel. How do you make your patients feel? When you're talking to Mr. or Mrs. Jones and you're asking them, how are you doing today? Are you connecting with them? Are you focused on them? Is it a rhetorical question? Do you care? I've worked in some practices where they ask the question, and before that they could really, the patient can answer, the doctor or the team member is gone. It's really important that we understand that how we make our patients feel can change how they receive your treatment recommendations, how they value you, how they trust you. And in my practice, it's critically important. I connect with my patients. I'm fully present when I'm with them. I remember the important information. I follow up with them after appointments. All of that matters. This is Dave. Dave has been in my practice over 20 years. I know Dave's family. I've gone to hold downs with them in Howard County and had a wonderful time. Dave has been in my practice he was in my practice for years before I got him to understand limited care was not going to change anything. I had to develop trust with David. I had to educate him on the health function and aesthetics practice model to take him from that to this. Every single patient that I'm showing you, I could tell you important information about them. I've connected with them sometimes on personal levels, not inappropriately personal, but I know them, I appreciate them, and they appreciate me. She's been in my practice and her husband for over 18 years, and each of them have invested over $50,000 each in the practice. This gentleman, I met him at a practice many years ago, and it's like 50 miles from where I practice. He drives an hour and a half to see me and has invested over $65,000 in the practice. I know my patients. I reach out to them. I connect with them. These two beautiful individuals, I reached out to their physicians when they're sick. I go visit them. We have office systems that support a uniform process. We don't read our patients' pocketbooks. We don't cater to insurance plans. We fully diagnose each patient, and let them make an informed decision about their health. We connect with them on a level that they feel heard and valued. Our patients know that we not only care about their oral health, we care about their overall health. Practicing in this way has allowed me to have an exceptionally high acceptance rate in my practice and the practices that I work with, a very loyal clientele, and our revenues are predictable and sustainable, and they far exceed many other practices. I hope this information has been valuable to you. I help you know just a little bit more about my health function and aesthetics process. And as a whole, I hope that what I shared with you will benefit you, your patients, and your team. If you want to connect with me, you can connect with me at my website, drglasper.com, or email me at drglasper@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Glasper. We have some time just for some questions and then we'll wrap it up. There's been a couple questions that have come in on the same topic, and one was the topic of bad reviews. And many offices fear that bad reviews may result in being honest with your patients and having those harder conversations. So, what would you tell these offices and the importance of having that open communication with your patients?
You have to have, we are doctors, we are healthcare providers. You have to be honest with your patients. I have never, ever found that being truly honest with my patients has resulted in a bad review. I have not. And let's say that someone does put a bad review up because you told them that they needed orthodontic treatment in order to get the results that they need. Then you respond to that review. You cannot allow patients to dictate your care. I have decided to function with an elevated level of care. I've decided to be a full physician and to have a very profitable practice. So, failure to completely disclose your findings, or failure to not, if you're not fully diagnosing your patients, I don't think it's the best thing to do. I
Oh,
hope I
thank great.
answered
No,
that.
absolutely. And I think that fear of having a bad review, it's not that they fear the bad review, they fear the results that may happen after a bad review, whether it be they had less new patients, et cetera. But you're absolutely correct that as a physician, it is your job to fully diagnose, and having that honesty actually can build the relationship and those relationships of trust, even when it is bad news.
Well, it does build the relationship. And here it is. Stop hanging on to patients who have no business being in your practice. And sometimes we know that right up front, but we continue to hang on to them because sometimes we think that some money is better than no money. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it for your peace or the peace of your team.
Well, one of the other questions, because earlier you were talking about the importance of surrounding yourself and giving your team leadership opportunities. So, what do you do to help inspire your office managers, your hygienists, to take that leadership role and take a driver's seat in the responsibility of case acceptance?
In the responsibility of care, well, they have bought into my vision. They understand that I truly I understand the magnitude of dentistry, and I understand that failure for me to fully diagnose, it's not an option here. It is my responsibility. And so I have sat down and truly educated my team members on what that means to be in the dental profession and the honor it is to be able to not only improve your patients' lives, but to save lives at times. And I've saved many lives in my practice. Anyone who's heard me speak I've saved lives, and in my family, I've lost lives because of people not understanding the value of oral health. So if they see you doing a lot of limited care or a lot of patchwork dentistry or running from room to room, and they don't feel like you truly value the work that you do, they're not going to value it. So, and then you teach them systems and processes. I have a practice management coach on my team that helps with that. Does that help, Ryan?
Absolutely. Okay, well, we are a little bit past time, so we want to
Yes.
go ahead and thank you for your wonderful information you presented and really inspiring and showing your passion for dentistry and results and how that actually leads to higher productivity and revenue. Want to thank you for your time. And
Thank
if
you.
you are watching live, the recorded webinar will be available within a few hours, and we'll have that sent out to you for your reference. This is a great reference, and we encourage you to do so in the future. Thank you once again, Dr. Glasper.
Thank you, Ryan, for having me.